Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Dope and Dharma. I am Dharma, he is Dope, aka the Dope Doctor and the Dharma Guy, and you are listening to Dope and Dharma, also known as Dharma Time right now. That's the hour in which we're doing for you guys today. What's going on, man?
Doing fantastic, man. How you doing?
I'm feeling very hatty today.
Oops. Oops.
Apparently, today's hat day. We both decided.
Yeah.
Mine is the what is this one? This one's the dialed in one for Ian there if he's watching. I think Ian is traveling today.
Mine is an old couch lava.
Oh, look at you on brand, dude. Well, yeah, I guess sort of, technically.
Kinda.
It's Dope and Dharma. It's all the same thing. Who cares? 6 of one, half dozen in the other. Anyways, what's up, everybody? We took a small hiatus from Dharma Time last week, which we're getting ready to explain. But for those of you who are watching live on Facebook.com/WPSN99, thank you so much, and feel free to leave some comments and interact with us, and we'll get to your comments. For those of you who are listening, make sure you hit the subscribe button, whether it be your favorite podcasting platform, whichever that one may be, or if you're watching us on YouTube, which would be youtube.com/Dharma Time, please make sure you like it, subscribe, things of that nature. It does help. So anyways, it's an interesting, what is today? Tuesday. It's an interesting Tuesday. First of all, the temperature is getting hot, but I can deal with it, I guess. It's been warm lately. We had like yesterday, I think the wind was kicking
me. You kidding me right now? There's been some cold lately.
Our definition
like of cold nap.
Our definition of cold is very different from one another.
Let me tell you something. The other night, it was warm during the day. I was fine. I was in shorts, everything. Then Dana and I go out to walk the dogs at nighttime, and it was like someone like opened the freezer and left it on. It was like, what the heck? Why is it cold out here? Now, mind you, I am now an old man living in Florida, for those of you that don't know. And in my old age, I now get cold very easy. So it must have been below 71 degrees. Because when it's below 71 degrees, my body goes, shiver.
See, anything above 70 for me, and I'm dying like a roasted pig. It's hot. I'm hating life. Anyways, I digress. Let's get started, man. So, what we're going to talk about today is COVID, right? Like, where are we at with COVID? It's been over a year since this thing has first graced us with its presence.
Right.
There's been a lot of goings on happening, and right now it feels like for a lot of people, it feels like we're kind of on the back end of it. For many others, we're right in the middle of it. It kind of just depends on what your approach to it is. Full disclosure, the reason why we did not have a show last week is because yours truly, on Monday of last week, got my second dosing of the COVID vaccine. Pfizer, I believe, is the one I got. And I had 103-degree fever. So I was not really interested in popping on here and pontificating about things. So we took the day off, and then I think within a few days, he got his second dose as well. He did not have 103-degree fever. He seemed to just come out of it just fine, so good for you. But in the time that we've been off, COVID has obviously morphed, I guess. Now it's the CDC has released something that says that as long as you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear masks indoors and you don't have to socially distance anymore. Not that a lot of people have, but I noticed. Huh?
They said we didn't socially distance either?
I believe so, if I read it correctly.
Why aren't you in Fisherman at the beach? Come on.
Yeah. And I know that also this is the first time that many of the states have reported 0 deaths, I believe, or lower deaths, lower cases. Bottom line is things, depending on what barometer you're using, the spreading of the virus is getting better, right? And so I think that where we're at right now, and the reason why we decided to do the show today is we're all now kind of dealing with the ripple effect of when it first kind of hit, right? You know, I know my children are getting ready to go on summer break starting next week. I now have the vaccine flowing through my veins. We're talking about, masks are not necessarily required anymore. People are traveling more. Like, so, it feels as if we're trying to kind of get back to some sort of normalcy. But at the same token, I think we also need to acknowledge the big pink elephant in the room known as COVID, right? Because I know for me personally, COVID came with just a tremendous amount of stress, man. And I think that for many other people, it has as well. It just I don't think we've seen the full effects yet of the wave that it caused, right? Like I think with businesses, I think a lot of businesses are going to stop the traveling that they once did and do more Zoom type things. I
Right.
think there's going to be certain businesses that used to be there that are no longer there because they couldn't survive the COVID. I think there's going to be a lot of marriages that aren't there anymore because they couldn't survive it. I think that there's going to be a lot of I think it had a ripple effect that we're going to be seeing for quite some time. And
I
so
agree.
I think that's what we should talk about is navigating that and what that looks like and what that feels like. So I know for me, it's been stressful for sure. We have a vacation at the moment, tentatively scheduled for October. I'm going to take the kids up to our yearly, mountain trip up in Tennessee, and I got to be honest, man. I think I'm more so looking forward to that than I ever have before. I really, really, truly am, and not because
Okay.
there's anything like magical that's going to happen while we're there. I'm just really personally looking forward to just getting away, right?
Yeah.
Just not dealing with the day to day mundane kind of just the stuff that it feels like COVID has piled on our lap, right? Like it feels like COVID is that house guest that just won't go away. It's just like you're trying to be polite, and you're trying to be cool with him, but he's eating all your food. He's putting his feet up on things. He's like, all right, bro, like I'm ready for you to go now, man. I want to be friends. I still want to be cool with you, but you're starting to piss me off.
Yeah. Time for you to go.
Yeah, it's kind of what it feels like, if I'm honest, man. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think many, many people are kind of dealing with that. The mask thing has created, like, the mask thing should have been kind of a straightforward thing, but it turned into this whole political matter of do you or do you not. Then the science, and then it was wear them, don't wear them, wear two of them, don't wear them. It was all over the place. And so I think that now that the masks are coming off, and for some people never put them on, like I know many people who just never wore them. I think that it begs the question as to where are we at? You know, like for instance, they did the thing where it said you don't have to wear the mask if you're fully vaccinated. I haven't really been out too many places since then because it was just happened a couple days ago. But
Yeah.
from the people I've spoken to, nobody's really checking vaccination cards. They're kind of just letting you walk in on the honor system here. So that begs the question, how much science is actually involved, and how much of it is just a political thing of just letting people do what they want, right?
It's all politics, man. It has nothing to do
Yeah.
with science.
Well, and for me, that's where the I don't know my thoughts start to wonder. Man, so we went through all this stressful stuff, and we're still kind of going through it, and it feels like it was almost all for naught, right? Like you kind of just came in and disrupted everything and stressed everybody out, and then you're like, oh, my bad, and then you just pull it all back, and it's like, dude, my bad, bro, you like ruined a lot of things. Like, I see so many people that have been touched so negatively from this whole situation. Granted, there's some people who benefited from it. I'm sure. That there's a lot of people who made money. There's a lot of people whose social situations
Yeah.
kind of
Pfizer.
were. Yeah, I know a lot of people whose social situations were more in line with lockup and things of that nature. So obviously, there's some people who are like, "Hey, it was cool," but for so many of us, man, it was really stressful in my house, man. You know, um, because we like in my own home, we had all the normal stresses of every day. Raising kids and paying bills and just dealing with stuff, man. And within that time, my dog that I had for like 10 years, my kid's dog that they grew up with, he passed away. Other people we've known have passed away. Like, just a lot of stuff happened, and then on top of that, you had everything that COVID brought with it, and all the vitriol and all the just stuff that came with it. So, I think it's going to take a long time for everybody to recover. I think that people's inner peace has really, really been tested, and it's still being tested. Because within that time we had the George Floyd incident, we had multiple other things, we had the insurrection, we had the elections, we had all this stuff that was taking place, man. And I think you're always the one that's pointing out that we've never created anything that has pressure without some sort of a release valve. And so it feels like there's just a lot of pressure on everybody, but it doesn't feel like it's been released yet, if that makes sense. Like when I'm out talking to people, it doesn't feel like a release has happened. It feels like it's very tense still. Like we're all trying to pretend that it's good. We're all trying, oh, we're getting back to normal. But in the back of our head, we all kind of know it's not yet. and I'm curious to see how that starts to play out over the next coming months. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, lots. Well, first of all, just had my first little mini tour in Georgia this past week, so that was good because we weren't allowed to do that, right? So
Right.
I wasn't getting any visits where I could speak out of town. I had to do everything Zoom. Every speaking gig was like Zoom, 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 pretty
Right.
much. I finally got my little mini tour in Georgia. That was cool. Did a couple dates up there where I spoke, and then I just this morning booked the Louisiana one, man, for 3 days in a row. So 3 straight days in the end of June, I'll be in Louisiana doing it. So to me, even though it didn't affect a lot, other than it gave us a lot more time together, because luckily we're not one of the families that experienced a lot of loss. So
Right.
luckily, my parents are okay, and we're okay, and that was the hardest part, I think, is not being able to see loved ones as much as you would normally see them. But at least I saw my kids more,
Right.
and experienced them at that time where they're moving out or they have moved out. Like my oldest daughter had moved out. My youngest daughter is about to move out, so we got her, keep her just a little bit, one more year. She would have been at FAU. Got to keep her one extra year. So to me, that's a bonus. So we got to stick around for another year. But after all, the whole thing is said and done, brother. Here's what I'm glad at: that no matter what, we did survive it. Not only as a country, but people, as humanity, man. I think we do a lot better than we think we give ourselves credit for. We expect too much perfection out of everybody else and ourselves, but people did relatively well. And the only reason I made that joke about science, like it's not about science, is because in every movie I've ever seen where there's an outbreak, we actually care about the science in the movie. And in the movie, there's always scientists looking for where it started, patient zero. That was always the science part of the movie. In this particular real life movie, I never heard anything about patient zero. So I don't know if in other countries they cared about patient zero. I don't know if in other parts of the world they cared about patient zero, but I have heard zero on our news media about ever worried about patient zero. So
well, I've heard mixed on that one. I've heard some people say it was a bat. Some people say it was from a lab in Wuhan.
That's still not searching.
Yeah,
but that's not searching for patient zero.
Nothing is definitive.
Got to get the bat. Somebody, all right, so it's a bat. Well, who's the first one with the bat? Who's the second? Dude, with AIDS, we know there's a guy's name out there floating around of how AIDS came to be.
Right.
All right. And this did more damage in 1 year than AIDS did. And yet patient zero wasn't important. Why? Because it got all political. So, if you're one of these people that you're watching this show today and you hear about COVID-19 and you're still trying to turn it political, look, that's not for me. It's not where I want to be. I want to be in the part that says, listen, we got through this relatively well. Yeah. I didn't get vaccinated because of politics. I didn't delay my vaccination for the weeks that I did because of politics.
Same here.
But I had to be vaccinated because I was forced, to be honest with you, Trinity. I cannot travel and do the things that I do without proving. I have to prove the dates that I had my vaccination. They will not book my travel. They will not book my hotel. They will not book my flights. So I was pressured. So the way I look at it is like this. Here's what COVID-19 did. When I was a little kid, everybody had that little dot on their arm, right? I'm that generation that came right after that. So my brother has the dot on his arm. He was born in 67. I'm born in 69. I don't have the dot on my arm. So I got lucky. I didn't need that booster shot the way it did. Or if I got it, it sure didn't leave that mark. So, we are now all part of something that happened. It's basically like that booster. It's like we all just got this polio vaccine or whatever like that. So look, man, if you're out there and you want things to get back to normal and you don't want to, you want to take the mask off like me, because I hate that dang mask.
I hate it.
Breathe. I can't breathe. I first of all, I don't like anyone's hands in my face. So I definitely don't want a piece of cloth in my face all the time. I feel smothered. So to me, by doing the vaccine, if that says that I can take the mask off, then I'm doing give me the vaccine. I'll take the risk, whatever comes with that. And I can take this darn mask off, but do not have me put that mask back on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to wear the mask, and not from a political stance either.
I want to, no, not from a political stance. It just bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I want to walk in like Conor McGregor into anywhere, and I want to do my Conor McGregor walk and just like, I ain't putting on that damn mask. That's how I feel right now, Chin.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm very thankful that it seems like I'm not going to have to put that stupid thing on anymore. And yeah, it's not from a political stance either. It's just, dude, with this mammoth beard I've got here and this big old head I got, I never found one. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I never fit. It never fit right. It always rode up to my eyeballs. I couldn't breathe through them. So yes, I'm very
Pulls
thankful
your
that
ears.
I.
It
Yeah.
pulled my ears like this. I was
Well,
like,
the ones that we
oh,
got for the Now Man is More Foundation couldn't even fit me. Like,
it's
there's just
small.
yeah, I couldn't fit them. So, um,
Yeah.
I agree. I got my vaccine for similar reasons. I'm surrounded by so many high risk people, and I too would like to travel. You're supposed to be going with us in February to Jackson Hole, and so we're gonna have to fly out there for that. So yeah, man, I definitely think that I was I wasn't pressured into it, but I read the writing on the wall and figured, all right, let me just get this thing done. Might as well just do it. And not only that, but the whole point of getting the vaccine is for everybody to do it so it works. So if everybody says they don't do it, then by definition it won't work.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. I put other things in my body all the time that I don't know what half of them are, right? So I mean,
Right.
a vaccine, it is what it is. But like I said, the other thing that I've noticed, man, is just there's just this weird underlying stress. Like I think that COVID just really challenged everybody's status quo. It really did. Like everybody kind of struggled in some fashion through this, and I'm not sure if everybody's gotten over it yet. I don't know. I
What do you
think,
mean by status
huh?
quo? What do you mean by the status quo part?
Just the way we addressed things in our lives, the way we coped, the way we went about it. I think it challenged that for everybody. If you're the type of person that really relied heavily on going out with friends, well, that was challenged. If you're the type of person that relied on going to the gym to work out your foot, that was challenged. If you're the type of person that really the only socialization you got was at work, that challenged that.
Right.
If you have kids, that was challenged. Well, younger ones for sure. Dealing with the schooling at home and stuff. In relationships, many relationships were challenged. You were challenged on how well you do with one another in a, because a lot of times relationships have time away from one another to where you can, absence can make the heart grow fonder kind of thing. But when you're around each other 24/7, you start to notice little things that maybe you didn't notice before. That maybe they bother you, maybe they don't. That was challenged.
Yeah. Did
Even
you know
really,
Dana has blue eyes?
huh?
Did you know Dana has blue eyes?
Actually, I did know that. Yes. But yeah, man. Even relationships with parents and kids, of all ages, right? Like my relationship with my mom was tested. I mean, she's in her 60s. She was high risk. So I'm used to seeing and talking to my mom pretty much on a daily basis. So not being able to see her sometimes, especially when there was like a COVID scare, and not knowing if she could come over and see her grandkids or not, like it challenged everything, And so I think that I think it was hard, man, and I think that the tendency is for us all to just, oh, okay, we're on the end of it, we're good. And I think that we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't really appreciate the magnitude of what just went down. If we really didn't look inward and say, all right, how did I deal with this? How am I dealing with it? And being honest with myself and honest with the people around me, and really using it as a growth experience, if that makes any sense, right? Like from a spiritual perspective, obviously, I'm always trying to find areas where I can grow spiritually because I know that that's an ongoing process. And so even myself, I've learned things about myself throughout this process. I've learned areas in which I'm way better off than I thought that I was, and then I realized areas I was way worse off than I thought I was, and I needed to like kind of address, and adjust. Um, and, some for the better and some for the not so much. But I think that we would be doing ourselves and everybody else around us a disservice if we didn't learn from it or didn't grow from it somehow, some way. Like I think the tendency is for us to brush it off, and I really hope that we don't. Right? Like I think our tendency is like, what? We're clear. Oh, okay, yeah, and go right back to what we were doing before, like it never happened. And I think
Right.
that from a societal standpoint, that's dangerous, right? Because if we go back, then just the next one that comes along is going to destroy us. But from an interpersonal thing, in a spiritual place, um, gosh, it would be a missed opportunity. There's so much growth that could take place, and we would miss it. And so I really seriously hope that everybody gives it the seriousness that it requires. I'm not saying that you sit at home all day long and cry about it, or sit at home all day long and just don't live life and ponder it. That's not, I'm not talking about that extreme, but really truly address it and be honest with yourself and appreciate what just happened and how you're responding to it. Does that make sense?
Well, I guess the way I'm interpreting what you're saying is that we probably developed some new skills and
Yeah.
some new ways to entertain ourselves and to pass our time. And I think what you're saying is let's continue some of that stuff. Don't give up these new things that you learn.
Or we
And
discover weaknesses that we should address. Don't just
right,
like other words, like don't say, hey, this is a weakness and this is a problem. And we all know what that is, right? Like, we can look back and say, wow, what this worked and this didn't work so much. Well, the areas that didn't work so much, what I'm afraid of is like, okay, for example, people would come to me in the fitness world, right? And they would have a scare. Like their blood pressure would be high or something like that. The doctor would tell them, you really need to make some lifestyle changes to live longer. Okay, so they change their diet slightly, a little bit. They go back to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Okay, your blood pressure is better now," and then everything stops. They don't they don't maintain the changes. You know what I mean? They don't continue to work on those things that were giving them such good benefits in the first place. And that's what I'm talking about. Meaning, for some of us, or for many of us, I think there was areas of weaknesses that were exposed that we might have felt obligated or obliged to work on at the time, but now COVID's starting to kind of come around. We're able to go out more. So I think the tendency for us as humans is to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm good then. I don't need to work on it. I can go back to doing what I was doing.
yeah,
And I think that is doing yourself a disservice, man. Like if you've uncovered something that could use work, an area of growth, just because things are starting to kind of come back to normal a little bit, don't ignore the growth that you were trying to do. Like stay with that growth. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
yeah. Well, I think for a lot of people that growth was, I just want to get out of here. I just,
Yeah,
I just want to
I feel that.
yeah, I just want to get back to some sort of normalcy. Look, I gotta admit, I'm in a blessed situation, brother. I'm in a unique situation, so I don't think I'm in a great example of how difficult COVID year was, to be
Sure.
honest with you. Because
No, but you know people that are.
yeah, I got to spend more time with my oldest daughter and her now fiance, right? Watch them buy their first house and experience their first year of living in that house. When they had it like that. My youngest daughter, I got to experience her every day of her senior year,
That's awesome.
all day long of her senior year in high school, all day long of her, pretty much, or most of the day of her first freshman year of college. Got to experience all that. We got so many house games, it's ridiculous. I don't think there's something you can we don't have the pool table, and that's because there's really no room for it. I mean,
Right.
we have filled up this house with games, right? We bought a new house right before COVID. You got these huge rooms everywhere, and yet we have managed to fill. I mean, I got ping pong. I got so many. I don't even know what I got. I just got everything. Dana the other day even got a croquet set. I said, "What do we need a croquet set for?" We got bocce ball. We got this ball, that ball. I got shuffleboard. I got everything, and now
That's
you got
funny.
croquet. So I got to experience that. Um, we're in Florida. So the freedom that we had, I mean, there was 3 months there where we were all kind of locked down and like,
Sure.
where's it go, right? But after those 3 initial months, really, we've had extreme freedoms. Also, I'm in a beach town, so in a beach town, we didn't have a lot of the exposure because we're not a tourist beach town. We're a locals beach town. So being a locals beach town, it's not like Daytona or Cocoa or Miami where you got all these people coming from all over the place. These are locals. These are people from Orlando that come up to here. So that was relatively cool and easy.
Sure.
So again, I'm in an insulated bubble, Trinity, of
That's good though.
experiences. Because even with the vaccine, look how hard it was for you to find a vaccine. I walked in without an
Yeah,
appointment
that was
and
ridiculous.
said, "Hey, how do I schedule a vaccine?" And they go, "You want one now?" I said, "Sure, give it to me."
Yeah, that was
You
ridiculous.
had to leave your county and find another county to go do it.
Yeah,
Again,
that was ridiculous.
I'm in a blessed, insulated situation where that's just not the problem. And so, with what you're talking about, growth wise, okay, growth wise is this. What I found out is that time is relatively short. It just reminded me of how short time is. And I want to embrace every moment I can, Trinity. I want to embrace every bit of relationship with these people that are around me that I've chosen and the people that were given to me by forces greater than me. Whatever they are, I want to just embrace it and know them as best I can. I want them to know who I am as best I can. Because at the end of the day, you may think you know who you are or whatever, but that's not what's important as far as legacy is concerned, is what do they think about you? Because I've heard some of the things that my kids, the way they describe me, and some things when they describe, I'm like, what are you talking about? And sometimes I'm like, I'm impressed. That's nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It just depends on what mood they're in and what mood I'm in when I listen to it.
Well, that's just as important too, though, right? Is the idea of gratitude, and for some of those, that is the growth that came out of this is renewing the sense of gratitude, right? Not
Yes.
taking not taking for granted certain things that maybe we don't focus on a daily basis, because that we're all guilty of, right?
Right.
Is the most grateful people in the world still have potentially days where they just they're not as grateful as they should be necessarily, right?
Right.
It's an unskillful day for whatever reason. Um, even for myself, same thing. I do my best to be as grateful as I can, but I've had moments of like, this sucks,
Right.
So that in and of itself is also growth. It's just a reminder of gratitude. I don't think we as a people pursue that enough as a solution. Gratitude. I think we spend so much time worrying about what we don't have or talking about what we don't like that we kind of forget to give that same amount of love and attention into things that we are grateful for.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because
You know,
go ahead.
no, you know what I was gonna say. You know what it did is it did bring out the ugly in a lot of people.
Yeah.
This COVID did bring out a lot of ugly. Because here's what it also did, Trinity. It also forced a lot of people to get online and just look at things
Oh,
and
that's
get
a
on social
bad
media.
idea.
And I think what happened was a lot of people they were so frustrated with their own stuff, whether it be finances, fear,
Yeah.
ideology, whatever it was, and then just started focusing so much on other people's thoughts and ideas and
Mm-hmm.
feeling and their facts. And
Yep.
so I think we got very judgmental during this time period because you're looking at other people's opinions more than usual. It's because usually you're distracted. And so you're only really paying attention to your opinions. I know people are walking around going, oh my God, are they going to see the zit on our forehead? No, I don't really care about the zit on your forehead. I'm too busy. Are you seeing the zit on my forehead?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But when in COVID, a lot of people spent a lot of time really, really
Yeah.
looking at who you were and what you were thinking, what you were saying, and more importantly, who are you on the side of,
Yeah.
red or blue? And so it made everybody very judgmental during this time period. That was
Yep.
the only real negative that I saw is that it brought out a lot of people's ugly. And trust me, if you're very, very blue or very, very red, you know it brought out some of your ugly. We need to get back to some purple, and so that's we got to bring back the purple, Trinity. That's what I say. We got to bring back purple.
Yeah, man. I would agree with that. I definitely. It's interesting to sit back from a sociological perspective and just kind of see the changes that have happened and what's going to continue to happen. Right. I mean, the ripple effect of how many businesses went under. I mean, how many people lost their livelihood, how many people lost jobs.
Support your
Um,
local business, people. Support your local restaurants.
Absolutely, man. But then, even on that note, how many people right now are not really interested in going to fill positions at work because the
Get
government has
back to
given
work,
them.
people. Get back to work.
Yeah,
Take a
I
damn
mean, I'm
shower. Go
seeing
to work.
signs for like Subway, for instance, offering $500 like signing bonus to go work at Subway. Like that's how desperately they need people. Um, that's crazy, right? Because on one hand, I'm trying to tell my kids that they have to go to school and they have to work and all these other things to get a job because it's not easy out there to find a job. But then we pass a sign that says we'll give you 500. So it's like how do I explain it to my kids that that's like not
Yeah.
the normal thing here? Like my 17-year-old thinks that you can just jobs are falling out of the sky. My 17-year-old, full disclosure, also thought that houses were $25,000 the other day. So take that for what it's worth. That was a great conversation, just so you know.
That was a great
And you were a part of that one, so that was a great conversation. Um, but so it's just interesting the dynamic that's happening around here. Like I mean, dude, even the freaking same kind of idea during COVID. What was it? Bill Gates is getting divorced now. The Bezos got divorced. Like a lot of things are just happening. And granted, their divorce doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. It's just the idea of, dude, COVID really rocked our world, man.
I guess his house wasn't big enough, man.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was too
You got
big.
$1 billion and doesn't have a big enough house, man.
Yeah.
I am sick of you. I don't
Yeah.
care how much you
Yeah.
cost or how much money you bring to this house. I am done with you, Mr. Bill.
Yeah. But the point is, man, it's just that there was a ripple effect, and I think if we try to ignore that, I think it's going to bite us in the butt later on. I think we have to appreciate the fact that there's some very real changes. Some things were uncovered, some good, some not so good, and I think if we try to ignore it and pretend like everything's back to normal,
Right.
I just worry about what that does for everybody.
Well, here's one thing, and I think that for anybody watching this, you probably like self help, you probably like motivation, you probably are into that kind of stuff. Here's what I'm going to say to you: right now, you can take advantage of this job searching because people are paying outrageous money to bring good employees. They
Yeah.
want good employees. They've realized now what a bad employee is, and I will never look at a resume the same again. I'm telling you, we may throw 2020 out for a lot of things, but if I look on resumes in the future and I see a lot of blank space between 20 and 2022, I'm going to pass a little bit of judgment. I'm going to want to know where you were. And if you just say, oh, I couldn't find a job, if you even say that you couldn't find a job in 2021, I'm just going to know you are a sucker. You just suck the system, right? So here's what I'm saying. If you are out there, man, my phone just keeps going on. If you are out there and you are a motivated person, a good worker, a hard worker, and you don't feel you're getting your pay, that you can get more money, right now is the time you can get a job with any company you want. Think of your dream company. I don't care what it is. Think of your dream company and your dream city. Go for it. Because I bet you that right now, more than any other time, you can get that job. You can get to work for that company. I'm talking about, let's say you wanted to work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's say you wanted to work for an agency. Let's say you want to work for Paramount Pictures. Let's say you wanted whatever. I don't care. You dream it and think about it. I guarantee that right now you could probably get in. And that, my friend, is going to mean a lot because when everybody starts coming back and you were there when nobody was coming in, and you will get there. So I think this is a great time for motivated individuals.
Yeah, I think
this is a time we can shine again. People like myself, I like working and hustling. I'm just going to shine more. Trinity, we've been shining more. We got how many projects that you and I are working on? Right now. Because while other people are sleeping, going, oh, we don't have, oh, they don't have. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this is a great time for somebody if they really wanted to reinvent themselves, or if they really wanted to change, like a major, change of course in their lives. Now's a great time, man. Like, what is that? The burnt forest analogy. To start anew, you burn the forest down, and it helps create more growth and things of that nature. Scorched earth theory. There you go. Same concept, right? Like, in theory, tearing down everything around you and have it all being torn down, you can look at that as oh, woe is me, life sucks, I can't believe it. Or you can look at it as like, what a great opportunity to rebuild what I wanted.
Absolutely.
And that's part of growth, right? That's part of that mindset of how do I look at this from a different perspective, right? Because that is a perspective I think a lot of people took is oh, life sucks right now. I can't do this, I can't do that, and I'm stuck here with this, and look at all these people doing these to this, and just oh god, it's very easy to get caught into that, man. Misery loves company, bro. Like
move the miserable, move the clutter, move the lazy people, move the suckers, the people that just bleed the system dry. Move all them aside and just go get it. That's the beautiful thing about this, man. It's just look, I am a provider. I will be your provider, people. If you need somebody to go pay all the taxes, okay, here I go. Let me go work and let me pay all the taxes. I tell you what, stay right where you're at. Don't do anything. I will help take care of you. Trinity and I will help take care of you. Don't worry. Just sit right there. I'm cool with that. It's the job that I have in this world. I'll treat you as another child. I just can't write you off on my taxes. Instead, I'll just pay more for you.
Oh, and the other thing that I would like for people to walk away with the knowledge in this one is it just doesn't matter, right? Like if your neighbor's wearing a mask or not, if your boss or your friend likes Trump or Biden, it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, what is that? There's a book out there, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. Like, that's so true. And if this year hasn't taught you that, I don't know what's going to, man. Because all these things in your life, all these apparatuses you had in your life to live that you thought were so important to you, they were all ripped away and you're still here. So it was obvious that those things, while they were nice, they weren't that important. They didn't have the level of importance that you put on them. It doesn't matter, right? Like, I see so many people like losing friends over a lot of these political debates and stuff. And it doesn't matter. It's like, I don't care how you feel about who's in office, man. It doesn't affect how you as a person or how we get along or the business that we could do. And my thoughts aren't so fragile that I can't be around somebody who disagrees with me without losing my shit. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm around somebody who doesn't agree with me, it either helps me question or it helps me reaffirm where I'm at, but it doesn't tear it down. Like, so it doesn't matter if you feel a certain way. Okay, man, that's where you're at. That's the beauty of the world, man. Is you come from a different perspective that I don't share, and that's what makes America great, right? Is we are allowed to have these different thoughts and stuff, but somehow that's turned into like a negative where we like apparently it matters, right? Like, I can't be your friend because of the way you voted, bro. If I didn't tell you the way I voted, you wouldn't have known. So it's not like it changed our daily interaction. So what does it matter? It doesn't.
Well, it doesn't matter. And I want to remember the lessons that I was raised with that says I don't want to be judged by the color of my skin. I want to be judged by my actions and how I perform. I don't want to be judged based on me being a Latino. I want to be accepted because of my abilities and stuff like that. Well, just because a lot of people are going backwards on that, they go, no, 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 no. As a matter of fact, I want special treatment because of who I am. Because I'm Latino, I want no, 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 no. We're not saying that. I don't want special treatment. You got this is a beautiful place, a beautiful world. I think we all need to get back to hugging again because that's what's missing. That connectivity, because we haven't been connected. We lost that hug thing, and now we just got more vicious. And we all want to judge based on color and race again. We're all back to judging, but because we're pointing that way, we don't see it's the same crap. No, we're not going back to the 60s, man. I'm not going back to the 60s. This is 2021. I love you for who you are, but if you're a jerk off, you're a jerk off. I don't care what color you are. You could be a white jerk off, black jerk off, brown jerk off. The color of your skin does not make you innocent. The color of your skin does not make you evil. So these are the things that I think spiritually we need to get back to where we were before this, because this made us crazy.
Yeah.
This made it. Because we were already going a little haywire with each other because the media was playing us, man. The media was playing us.
Yep.
And then when COVID hit, it just hit at the wrong time. It hit when we were already starting to judge each other and argue with each other and take the world back to the 60s where, you because of this is how you're treating. No, 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 no. 2021, 2020, 2022 for real, Trinity. And you called it when you said, look, 2021 is not going to do any different. It was all by 2020, like 2021 was going to bring something different. All it brought is more ugly. Yeah. But I really do believe that 2022 will be different. 2022, by then, I never want to hear another person tell me about science. Okay? Just don't try to educate me on science anymore, because you don't know anything about science. Because here's science. We need connectivity. We need love. We need compassion. We need friendliness. We need lack of judgment. We need inclusivity. We need to include all people, especially including those that disagree with us. We need to hear and listen, especially to people who speak differently than us and think differently than us. Those are the ones we need to include. Those are the people we need to put our hand out and says, I want you to get to understand you better.
Yeah.
We need to stop shaming somebody for thinking differently than us. We need to stop bullying people just because we think differently than them and they think differently than us. That is what I think we're missing, and that's why spiritually, Trinity, we need more Dharma time. Every day needs to be Dharma time. All the time needs to be Dharma time, not just on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Every day, all day needs to be Dharma time, meaning just love the next person regardless of their position in life, regardless of because they're rich. All this rich hatred, all this white hatred, all this law enforcement hatred. What are you doing? That is not who we are as a people. That is not how we got to 2021 in the first place. Those are the things that divided us and hurt us in the past. Look, we come from a very, very vicious past. We come from, all of us, by the way, come from generations of mongrels. I mean, just horrible, evil, destructive, violent people. But we're only reading about it and trying to remember looking at what it used to be like. We didn't live in that. Yeah. We didn't experience that. That they did what they did. That's it. I'm not going to pay for their victories or their losses. We are here today, people, with the ability and the empathy to move forward in the right, proper way. So yes, let every day be Dharma time.
Well, and on that note, you touch. Well, first of all, Connie says respect and carrying yourself in a positive manner. I couldn't agree more. But I want to touch on something. So I'm going to go off on a small tangent here, because you touched on something that I for one didn't appreciate or even see in my younger years until this particular bit of reading that I did, and it kind of woke me up. Thankfully, thankfully, because I learned prior to having kids. And that is so in 19 was it? I had to look it up real quick. 1958, Harry Harlow did a study, and for those of you familiar with it, it's called the Harlow Monkey Study. So, in 1958, Harry Harlow wanted to test the idea of basically needs over wants for the most part, right? Exactly. That's why I threw that in there. So, so what he did was he took these, and I'm paraphrasing. By all means, go look up the study. It's the Harlow Monkey Study. I encourage everybody to give it a gander.
Give it a gander.
That's right.
Said it here first, kids.
That's right.
Give it a gander.
So, anyways, he set it up to where essentially took a baby monkey and gave it two options. Right, you open up the cage, and over here was a monkey, a make believe, mama monkey that was very cold and uncomfortable and harsh and just not very loving and not very nurturing, but it had food and water. And then on the other side, it had another monkey, a fake mommy monkey that was plush and comfortable and warm, and it felt nurturing and it felt loving and it felt caring. And they wanted to see which one was it going to go for. And the hypothesis, and the same one I had before I read the results of it, was I immediately assumed that it would go towards the food and water because it's got to survive. That survival instinct's going to kick in, and it's going to go for food and water every time. Wrong. What they found out was, left to its own devices, the monkey would forego food and water for love and compassion and comfort.
Amen.
And so at the end of the day, when we talk about our needs, we automatically assume needs, food, shelter, water. No, that's not true. That's what we need to survive and live, but that's not what we need. What we need is love, compassion, generosity, kindness. Because without those, the food and water mean nothing. We have to have those. That's what makes life worth living. That's what makes us get through the day without losing our mind because somebody disagrees with us about something. It's not because I have a full belly and I got a refrigerator full of. No. It's because I have love and compassion for my fellow person. And I have love and compassion for the fact that, you know what? They have a different view on things, and that's okay. I'm going to love them anyways. And even if I disagree with it, even if they're dead wrong, that's where they're at on their journey, and I'm going to love them there. Because at some point, if it's that true, they'll find out eventually. That's the cool thing about truth, man, is it always comes out. If there's a universal truth, if there's this ideal truth, you don't have to convince somebody of it. You don't have to shove it down their throat. They'll see it. If it's true, eventually life will show them the way that it is true. Period. Right? And so that to me is what I want to touch on right there is what you said, man, is this idea that we need more money or we need more divisiveness or we need more no, dude. We need more love, compassion, kindness, generosity, not only for ourselves but for other people as well, man. Like, we're all in this rat race together. And we're all just trying to reach the top. And we're all doing the best we can. And we're all failing miserably. Yeah. So help your fellow person. Be that person for them. Give them a smile. Give them a hug. Give them it's okay. You're doing all right. Like, we need to hear these things. And now more than ever. We just had a year and a half of being told that we're wrong for something. If whatever side you're on, you're wrong for a reason. And you're the reason why all these problems are happening. And we're all going to die because of this. We just spent a year and a half of doom and gloom and oh my God, life sucks. Let's follow that up now with a year and a half of hope and love and kindness. And say, you know what? I love you for who you are, not for what you do or what you decide. Who you are, you deserve love. Period. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do this for me to love you. You don't have to behave as I love you regardless.
You don't have to fit a quota.
Yeah, man. I think that's the approach we got to take, and I think that to me is one of the biggest things that COVID taught me. COVID taught me to get back to love and loving myself and loving other people. That's what it reaffirmed. I already knew those things, but some days I'm more skillful than others. I get caught up in it as just like everybody else does. I have my unskillful moments. I have my moments where I'm like, dude, this sucks. I can't believe it. But at the end of the day, I got to make sure I always come back to what my guiding star is, and that is love, compassion, generosity, kindness. Period. And that's, for those of you who are keeping track, that's right intention, by the way. That's the second part of the Eightfold Path. Right intent. My intent is coming from a place of love, compassion, generosity, and kindness, and not coming from a place of anger, greed, fear, lust, all those other ones.
It was during this whole time period that I actually, and you've heard me say it multiple times, where I've now realized all the lessons that my dad gave me in regards to not feeling like a minority and not feeling less than, did not let me feel like that, no matter
Right.
what I experienced, no matter how many times I may have been right because of that situation, how I was felt judged against or whatever. It didn't matter if I
Sure.
was right or wrong. He always focused on my part in it, my responsibility in the altercation, my responsibility in the event,
Yep.
even if it was by me just being there. Regardless of what it is, my dad always put the responsibility on me. And I really, really have learned that lesson through this whole thing, man. And let me
Yeah.
tell you something. It also taught me that resentment is a mother, man. If you're holding on to resentment, it could be dormant for a lot of years. But I think what we're witnessing right now is everybody's resentment that they've held on to is all coming out very ugly.
Yeah, man.
So, people that I really admired and I thought, were good, honest people. I'm watching the resentment come out ugliness. I'm watching vengeance. I'm watching the desire for revenge. I'm watching
Yeah.
the lack of integrity. I'm watching the lack of even accepting that they can be wrong, or
Yeah.
even accepting another person for having some faults in their life, or worse, faults in their past life. I mean, what we're seeing also is that your entire book of history is open, and we're not supposed to forgive any part of it if you've
No.
ever done anything wrong. And it's like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
We need to get
Nobody
back to
wins in
complete.
that equation.
Nobody can
Nobody
win.
wins.
Look, man, I how many times have I been on stage and I've said, look, I think this is a very forgiving world. Thank you very much for forgiving me. For a person like me, who behaved like me, who done the things that I've done to other people, and the responsibility of negativity that I've been, to accept me and love me for who I am today, for allowing me to basically have a rebirth and provide benefit to this world rather than just simply pay for my past misdeeds, is awesome. And I appreciate that. And I never want to do wrong by the people that gave me that opportunity. So thank you very much for that opportunity. But man, that means that we all deserve the opportunity for growth. We all deserve the opportunity to understand. Yes, I misunderstood myself. Yes, I was wrong. Let me make some changes. But we can't do that in the type of culture that we're trying to create. And the only reason we're trying to create this, by the way, is because we're being instigated. We are being manipulated.
Yep.
It's not how you really feel. And here's why I believe that, Trinity, because the people in my general area, when I'm having conversation with them, we can have conversations. We
Yeah.
can have disagreements and dialogue. But the second you watch the news, it's like, no, they can't have it. No, we're supposed to be in conflict. We're supposed to be in conflict. So, I like that you brought it back to right intent and stuff like that, because I think that's what's important. Like, what is your true intent?
Yeah.
How do you truly want to move forward on this earth? And man, some of you are carrying like the whole burden of the world on your shoulder. You're acting like, oh my God, I'm doing this for the people. No, man, that burden is not your burden. That burden was carried by generations before you who fought for real the burden. All you have to do is allow this growth to happen. We are growing in a very, very, very positive direction, man. And I love it.
Yeah.
Your family and my family are both families of mixed children. My children are half Hispanic and half white. Your children are half Hispanic and half white. That is a beautiful world, man,
Yeah.
where that is completely normal and accepted.
Yeah.
That, my friend, is the kind of change that we need to continue. Those kinds of things, that if that's what you want to do, great. If you don't want to do that, that's okay also. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. That's the biggest part. Is it's okay if you disagree with me. I'm okay with that. My life still continues to move on. I don't need to change your mind in order for me to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Look, if you came to me and go, look, you know what? Because I did it with my kids, man. I would tell them, like, you sure you don't like Latino boys? You know, you know what I mean? Because I mean, who doesn't want that? You know what I mean? I mean, it just makes perfect sense to me. I know I can always go, well, whatever my daughter loves, that's fine. And that's true.
Sure.
But if I had a preference, of course I'm going to say a Latino person like their father. That makes sense to me. I'm sorry, but don't judge me for that. I'm not evil because of that. That's normal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel less than because I think like that. I'm not going to feel horrible about myself because I feel like that. I'm just going to be completely honest that, of course, that is my preference. You know what I mean? But if they bring on somebody that's not Latino, I'm going to talk about them behind their back in Spanish, and they better learn Spanish.
But I think that's the point, man. That's the point. Is it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think now's a perfect time to start wrapping up. Do you have anything else to add on this topic?
No, man. I'm just glad that we can see each other again. I'm glad that it's mask off And
Yeah.
you know, and again, for those of you that are taking off your mask because you've been vaccinated and you're not making it a political statement, good for you. For those of you that are still either getting the vaccination or not getting the vaccination because it's a political statement, grow up, man. Get over it. We need to move forward, and we need to make this world more about connecting with other people and empathizing with other people and including all people, even those that look differently than us or think differently than us, especially those that think differently than us and have different feelings than us or cultures than us, and just accept it, man. But other than that, no, Trinity, just love one another. I can't wait to hug people again. You know what? I had made a joke that I'm never going to shake hands and hug again until recently. I shook hands and hugged, and it felt so good, man. I actually missed it. I didn't think I missed it, and I actually did. It felt really good.
Right on. And Dan, what's up, brother? Dan is watching us live on facebook.com/WPSN99. He's giving us a
What's
shout
up,
out.
Daddy boy?
What's up, brother? Yeah, and once again, thank you everybody who's watching and or listening. If you're listening via whatever your podcast platform is, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on youtube.com/Dharma Time, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe and share. Or if you're watching us live and you're commenting, appreciate you for sharing your thoughts. But yeah, I think I'm just going to echo the same thing, man. You know, living with COVID here in 2021, you know, it does feel as if the whole COVID thing is starting to come to an end. And I think it's important, like you said, man, for us to start to kind of come back to some love and some compassion, man. You know, love yourself enough to make good decisions. Love yourself enough to be the person that you want to be. You know, the one that you picture in your head. Be that person, and most likely that person is kind and loving and understanding and comes from a good place, comes from the right intentions when they're dealing with other people. 2021 is a great opportunity for growth. It's a great opportunity for us to rebuild in a much better image that we might have had for ourselves. All right, we don't have to continue the same old. Now, if what you had was great and fantastic and rewarding, by all means, keep the party going. But if what you had was not leading you to a good place, or if it was filled with resentment and anger and frustration, maybe now's a good time to start to turn that around and say, you know what? You know, as COVID goes out the window, so are all these motivations and these ideals that I was living with. Now I'm going to start coming from a better place. I'm going to start coming from the love and the compassion, the generosity, the kindness. I'm going to stop coming from a place of anger and greed and fear and lust and all these other things. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check us out again on Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to do the Couch Live. And that's all I got. So now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.